A Cold Business. The Tale of John, the Serial Killer for Hire. John Harper was not your ordinary man. On the surface, he seemed like a quiet, unassuming individual. With his neatly trimmed hair, modest clothing, and a smile that barely reached his eyes, he could blend seamlessly into any crowd. Yet, behind that facade lurked a dark, malevolent spirit driven by one singular motive: money. John was a hitman, a killer for hire, and he had perfected his craft over the years, transforming murder into a lucrative business. He had rules, of course. John was meticulous about his work. He accepted jobs only through a strict vetting process, ensuring that his clients were as serious as he was. The cost was steep, but the wealthy, desperate, and vengeful were willing to pay. For John, every kill was a transaction, a cold business devoid of emotion. Or so he believed. It was a damp, foggy evening when John received his latest assignment. The client, a man cloaked in mystery, offered a considerable sum to eliminate a business rival. As John sat in his dimly lit apartment, the flickering candle casting eerie shadows on the walls, he reviewed the details. The target was Mark Harrison, a successful entrepreneur known for his ruthless business tactics. Harrison had made many enemies, and now one of them had hired John to ensure he never closed another deal. John's planning was meticulous. He tracked Harrison's movements, studying his routine with the precision of a predator stalking its prey. The perfect moment presented itself one chilly night when Harrison was scheduled to attend a charity gala. John knew this was his chance. Dressed in a black suit that blended into the night, John infiltrated the gala. Amidst the laughter and clinking of glasses, he moved like a shadow, unseen and unnoticed. He found Harrison in the garden, away from the crowd, speaking on his phone. John approached silently, his steps masked by the rustling leaves. With a swift motion, he drew his knife and plunged it into Harrison's back. The businessman gasped, his phone clattering to the ground. As life drained from Harrison's eyes, John whispered, "It's just business." He disappeared into the night, leaving chaos in his wake. Word of John's efficiency spread quickly. More clients approached him, each with their own dark desires. He was a ghost, leaving no trace. His bank account swelled with blood money, and the thrill of the hunt kept him going. Yet, with each kill, the weight of his deeds began to press on him, a creeping sense of dread that gnawed at his soul. His next job was different. The client, a wealthy widow named Eleanor, wanted her husband's killer dead. She offered John an obscene amount of money, but there was something about her eyes, a haunted look that struck a chord deep within him. Despite his reservations, John accepted the job. His target was a man named Victor Trent, a notorious criminal who had escaped justice. Victor lived in an old mansion on the outskirts of the city, a place shrouded in legends and ghost stories. Locals whispered about the spirits that roamed its halls, the souls of those Victor had wronged. John dismissed these tales as superstitions, but as he approached the mansion, a chill ran down his spine. The mansion was a relic of the past, its grandeur faded and replaced with decay. John picked the lock and slipped inside, moving silently through the darkened corridors. The air was thick with dust, and the floorboards creaked ominously under his weight. As he ascended the grand staircase, he heard whispers, faint and indistinct. He shook his head, trying to focus. Ghosts weren't real, they were the product of guilty consciences and overactive imaginations. He continued his ascent, but the whispers grew louder, more insistent. John reached Victor's bedroom and found the man asleep. He drew his knife, ready to strike, when suddenly, a cold hand grasped his wrist. He turned, expecting to see Victor, but there was no one there. The whispers turned into screams, echoing through the mansion. For the first time in his life, John felt true terror. Victor woke up, saw John, and lunged at him. The two men struggled, the room filled with the sounds of their battle. John managed to overpower Victor, plunging his knife into his heart. As Victor's life ebbed away, he whispered, "You can't escape them. They will come for you." John fled the mansion, but the screams followed him. They haunted his dreams, turning every shadow into a potential threat. He tried to drown them out with alcohol and money, but nothing worked. The more he killed, the louder the whispers became, each new victim adding to the chorus of his damned soul. One night, John received a call from Eleanor. Her voice was different, colder. She revealed that she had known all along who he was, and she had orchestrated his descent into madness. "You thought you could kill without consequence," she said. "But now you know the truth. The dead do not rest, John. They are coming for you." John's last job came from an unexpected source. A young woman, Anna, offered him all her savings to kill the man who had ruined her life. Desperate to escape the whispers, John accepted, seeing it as his final job. He didn't care about the money anymore, he just wanted the torment to end. Anna's target was a corrupt politician named Robert Kingsley. John tracked him down to a secluded cabin in the woods. As he approached, the whispers turned into a deafening roar, drowning out his thoughts. He burst into the cabin, knife in hand, ready to end it all. But Kingsley was prepared. He had hired his own protection, and a brutal fight ensued. John fought like a man possessed, the screams of his past victims urging him on. He killed Kingsley's guards one by one until he stood before the politician himself. As he raised his knife to deliver the final blow, he saw their faces, Mark Harrison, Victor Trent, and countless others. They surrounded him, their eyes filled with sorrow and rage. "You cannot escape us," they chanted. John's knife slipped from his hand, clattering to the floor. He dropped to his knees, overwhelmed by the weight of his sins. Kingsley, sensing victory, reached for his gun, but before he could fire, John grabbed the knife and plunged it into his own heart. The whispers stopped. The spirits faded away, leaving John alone in the cabin. As his life ebbed away, he felt a strange sense of peace. He had finally paid the price for his crimes. In his last moments, he whispered, "It's just business." John Harper, the serial killer for hire, died that night, but his legend lived on. The whispers of his victims echoed through the woods, a warning to all who sought to profit from blood. And those who ventured into the haunted mansion or the cabin where he met his end would feel his presence, a reminder that no one can escape the consequences of their actions. Like, subscribe and share for more interesting stories.